A New Hope, Nier Chapter 47. Please like and share our videos. Thank you. Traveling through the darkness portal was relatively smooth, however there was one notable hiccup, being that the back half of my backpack looked to have been Thanos snapped out of existence as the spatial storm and waves of pure dark elemental energies running rampant in my darkness portal ground down what wasn't explicitly carrying my guardian's darkness shroud. Thankfully I had 2B's sword held tightly within my arms, so it wasn't lost as I continued walking in the pulsating darkness. It was an effort and futility trying to keep an idea as to where I was going, as literally, all corners of my vision were endless waves of dark purple waves of darkness. Honestly, after what felt like half an hour of walking in the unchanging landscape, I was about to turn back to the world of Nier Automata, as I had made a sort of elemental beacon so I could eventually make my way back. The endless same pulsating view was making me feel ill at ease, to be put lightly. No wonder all the darkness users were batshit crazy, I muttered as I eventually just ended up closing my eyes and kept walking in what felt like a straight line, keeping the beacon back to my last world straight behind me. I was honestly unsure as to when I finally made headway, when finally, I found something else other than the endless waves of darkness. That's weird, I muttered, seeing a weird double-sided door in front of me that heavily contrasted with the surroundings. The door had a series of 4 mosaics on the sides of the door and another 2 on the top arch of the door, and as I studied the mosaics, I understood that the mosaics door self-depicted for different young girls with a sort of seasonal motif, and on the top of the door showed a contrasting image of what looked to be a wizard shooting a fireball turned a general, and a woman who went from a loving mother carrying 4 children to a monstrous woman in the midst of destroying a town or something. If this door leads into a world, I can already feel this world isn't going to be a happy slice of life world with little troubles. I muttered, brushing my hand over my face, but really what choice did I have, as I lost some of my supplies on the way here and I had no way of getting more even with my magic, as I couldn't grow fruit fucking trees out of floating darkness that could somehow hold my weight. And I would die, frankly, should I go back to Nier Automata without getting much stronger magically, as the Maso was getting stronger and stronger at an increasing scale, with studies showing that the Maso emitting sun's energy output would plateau in a couple of years. So, I needed to either get much stronger very fast or take my time getting strong over a longer period of time. I blew out a breath of air as I cleared my mind and then pressed both my hands into the door, pushing lightly at first and then with a grunt of effort as the door seemed to drain me of mana, and finally began to open. As the door opened, a bright light broke through the crack between the door, obscuring my view, and as soon as I pushed open the door fully, the light beyond the door seemed to have grabbed me, and despite my guardian attempting to anchor itself within the endless waves of darkness surrounding us, the light felt to have a world's weight behind it, and the darkness tethers my guardian created were snapped with impunity, sending me careening into the light. The light thankfully didn't hurt me as it dragged me through the door, but I could only cry mentally as another door appeared in front of me, opening as the light surrounding me dragged me closer, as finally it opened, and I was catapulted at high speeds above a brightly lit city. I coughed as I was buffeted by the winds, as apparently, I was moving at high speeds in the light tunnel, and hitting actual atmosphere-filled air was a shock when coming out of a void. But I was finally able to get a grasp of myself, and I began shooting high-pressure wind beneath me as I took a sitting posture in the air, stabilizing myself, and began gently gliding downwards as my guardian went back into my body's shadow. It turns out that if you don't have a guidance computer to fly like Iron Man or telekinetic nonsense like Superman, flying with your arms in beside or in front of you to control your angle of flight was a terrible idea. In other words, it was far easier to emulate a helicopter than try to fly like a jet. That, and if I messed up, and landed wrong in a sitting position, I could land on my feet or even just on my butt, but if you mess up flying like other superheroes, odds are that you are going, face first, into the dirt. Well, that's some defining features, I mused, seeing the surrounding area as I was glided down. The city was built seemingly in the valley of 2 mountain ranges with a massive inlet leading towards the neighboring ocean, but the most defining sight was how the city was completely surrounded in what looked to be 30 to 40 meter tall walls, with the walls even seemingly going out into the sea a good distance, with a glowing chain fence or something between the walls. Realizing this city was obviously rather militant with how the entire place was walled off, I flew to the ground much quicker, as I was terrified of being targeted by some anti-air defense platform and being turned into chunky salsa by a series of miniguns or burnt to a crisp by surface-to-air missiles. Sounded horrible. Just as I was landing, I did notice something in the far-off distance though. It looked to be a castle, or something built on the edge of one of the neighboring mountains, and was obviously well powered, as several lights from within the castle reached the city in the distance. I decided to land in an alleyway in order to merge with the city life's foot traffic, as even with it being dark there were plenty of people going about their business, and I couldn't help but sigh seeing cars driving by as well as the people going about their business. It was a major change from spending the last several months with Yoarha and the androids who were at total war with the machine army. Even as I was thinking that I saw a woman carrying groceries of all things with one hand and talking on what looked to be some handheld holographic phone with the other, and I couldn't help but feel tears coming to my eyes as the sheer mundanity of the sight of the woman bitching at her husband over the phone made me think of life back on Earth and all I had lost there being sent to Nier. But I also gained a great number of friends and people I loved there, so I pushed aside my homesick feelings as I strode forward to hopefully find some newspapers or something so I could learn where I was.